How's it going?
Привет.
How do we get here?
So, how'd we end up here?
You don't remember?
No, I don't.
After you crashed the car we had just commandeered, I managed to pull you out of the seat to drive. We're lucky the car worked at all. They would have been searching the area for hours. We went further into bushland. They could not follow.
Right, I get that, but what I mean is, how did we get here? You just found this place?
No, I know my way around the area. These people are my friends.
That train we were on, and all those people yesterday, they were soldiers. Who were they?
They are the RAEF. They control the entire region, the entire state. At one time they almost controlled the entire country. It's best to avoid them.
Those people outside. Who are they?
Bushrangers. Officially, we are nothing more than criminals. We do what we can to survive. Sometimes it means doing things you may not be comfortable with. You should prepare yourself for this.
These guys outside. Are they gonna expect me to do anything?
We are all expected to do what we are best at. You may not like it, but if you don't serve a purpose, you will be forced out. And eventually you will end up in one of the colonies. Life for someone like you will not be easy there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Hey,
have questions.
Before you go,
Yeah?
after you shot me, why did you take me with you?
I didn't want to shoot you.
Oh, I didn't want to shoot you, I just felt like it was gonna be either you or me. Anyway, it just seemed like the right thing to do.
I'm glad you didn't leave me there. Thank you.
Old Semenov's circumventions? Blaze constructor? Not all circumvention software is the same, and old man Semenov's Blaze Constructor 4.0 is here to prove it. As the leader in computerized security, OMS is able to bypass any digital lock, firewall, and security system in the world. Old man Semenov does it again.
It's that uniform she was wearing when I met her. An old rifle. I'll take that.
To do? Alright, let's buckle in. Friday, June 2nd, 2073. Good news, we found out where the gun runners are operating. We followed the whirly bird as best we could, but lost it over a mountain. We kept going in that direction till we hit something. Then there was nothing. Nothing special. Basically a 2-story house. We'll keep an eye on them for a few days and see how it all operates. Saturday, June 10th, 2073. The plan's starting to fall in place. We picked up the gun runner who makes the trip every few weeks. He's a few cans short of a 6-pack, but with some encouragement he confirmed where we can find the papers. June 14th, more good news. Alexandra returned. We figured out the final piece of the puzzle. The path up north won't be easy. Apparently there are various regions that make travel lethal to any conventional method of transportation. Something about the terrain and noxious gases between here and there, among other things. This rover specified a town, Birdka. She pronounced it strangely. A contact who can help with the trip. Supposedly the contact is an American who can take you in any direction for a quick buck. Obviously not ideal, but beggars can't be choosers. We need to make it to this northern town in order to organize secure transportation to our final destination. From there, all that remains is getting inside. We should be able to follow up on the details we received yesterday to get that sorted. Destination coordinates will be sent to any other rangers who want to tag along. Alexandra also brought a stray back with her from a recent outing. Might as well use this as an opportunity to put him through his paces. Oh, good.
Crates and ammo, by the looks of it. 2073? Time really did go faster down there.
Who's printing the...
Just a regular box.
Who's printing the calendars?
I wonder if this works.
Nah, it's fucked.
June 14, 2073. Okay, buddy. Let's try again, shall we? We know almost everything about how you operate. All that's left are the coordinates and any identifying papers we can use. You tell me about those, and I'll leave you alone. How about it?
You're fucking dead.
I'm getting sick of playing this game.
I'll tell you, just stop.
Nobody's gonna find you out here, mate. Give it up.
The papers, the ID, there's a safe, a red safe, in the basement.
Basement? Basement of where?
Where you found me.
You sure about that?
Come on, please, I swear.
I don't think he's breathing. How's it going?
Good morning.
What'd this guy do?
Him? Ha! He had a bad attitude.
Is he dead?
Dunno. Don't care either, to be honest. But he had some interesting things to say about his mates. I was told you're off to meet them. You should go and talk to Pete about it. Over there, near the fire.
Will do. Ah, I broke it.
Oh, finally.
Too easy. Yoink! I already opened that. Looks like they're not going to run out of food anytime soon. That sounds positive. It's an invoice.
To Terrence Ahern, 2 Oakhurst Street, Dark Forest, 12.77mm ballistic syringe loaded dart. Highly experimental, not recommended for use of conventional organic life forms, like to result in disfigurement or death. Effects are irreversible, strictly for administering in cold environment.
There's a car on the other side of that. It's a toolbox. I don't need it. A red can. Smells of petrol. It's a tree stump. Looks comfy.
Oi! Don't fiddle with that.
What is it?
We call it the Shroud. Helps hide the place from any passing planes, airships and that sort of thing. From up there, everything down here looks like bushland.
What happens without it?
Well, we have to pack up and move around more often, which is a fucking headache. Leave it be.
How's it going there?
Look who it is. Welcome back to the land of the living.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. Are you in charge here?
Something like that. I'm Pete. This is Ned.
G'day.
I was told you're a bomb dodger.
Yeah, so I heard.
Stupid fucking name. Anyway, I don't care where you've been or who you are. So long as you're willing to pull your weight, you're welcome to stay. Which brings me to today's activity. Alexandra gave us a pretty good idea of where your skills lie, and we'd like to put them to the test.
What do you need?
Good attitude. Ned here is going to take you out for a drive. He'll let you know what you need to do. Do what he says, make it back in one piece, and you can call this place home. For now, anyway. If things go well, we won't be here much longer.
Okay, that sounds pretty fair.
And before you go, here, take this. It'll help you understand the way things work. We don't see many of you guys anymore, so we've only got this outdated version. It's probably better than the shit they had you learning in your hidey hole.
Bomb Dodger's Bible.
All right then, you better be off. And remember, do exactly as he says. You make it back and we can all get to know each other some more.
Let me know when you're ready.
Looks useful. Are those my clothes in there? Never thought I'd miss seeing rocks. How's it going?
Pretty good, thanks, mate. I'm Henry. You feeling all right now?
Yeah, not bad. Is that my rifle?
Ah, yours, is it? She's a beauty, she is. I hope you don't mind, but I added a few bits and bobs.
No, I don't mind, as long as it still works.
Of course. Haven't seen one like this before. Where'd you get it?
My old man gave it to me. Used to belong to his old man. It's from the war.
From a war, huh? Mind if I take it with me later? Got to do a supply run soon.
Supply run?
Food, water, medical supplies. It's for the trip up to... You know what? If you stick around, you'll find out soon enough.
G'day!
Don't waste your breath. You won't get anything out of him. He hasn't said a word since he joined us. We're not even sure he can talk.
What's he doing up there?
He's the lookout. We're pretty safe this far out, but every now and then there's trouble. The law, bandits, critters. You'll know all about it soon enough.
Good morning.
How's it going? You're the bomb dodger who was stuck underground, aren't you?
Yeah, sort of. Let me ask you a question, though. What is it you guys do here?
There's not much to it, really. We see something we like, and we take it.
I see. And are you helping to fight the Russians?
What do you mean by fight the Russians?
Well, I couldn't help but notice that they're sort of, overrunning the place. Isn't someone out there trying to stop them?
Well, it's not that simple. If we stopped them, we'd lose all our border protection. Then we'd all be stuffed. We don't share love for one another, but we need them.
Border protection? By the Russians? For what? What's on the other side of the border?
It's bloody torture talking to you guys. There's a book around here that should explain it a lot better than I can.
Yeah, right. I'll leave you to it then. Thanks.
Alright, the shack. Looks like I'm in a wooden shack. I don't know how I got here. Last thing I remember is running off the road. I should speak to that lady I was with. I spoke to the lady and asked about what I wanted to know, now to see what's beyond the door. Talked to two fellas by the fence, one called Pete and the other's Ned. The lady who brought me here, I learned that her name's Alexandra. When I'm done looking around, I need to talk to Ned and head out for the day. What's my to-do list? Okay. A or D to flip the pages. Okay. Good day, traveler, or should I say, bomb dodger. In your hands is a guide to the world around you, written by me, Reg Kelly. You might ask yourself, how is this guide any different to the dozens of other books written over the years? Why should I care? The answer's simple. Unlike the rest of them, it was written by a bomb dodger. That's right, I too was once like you. This book documents my personal travels and experiences. I've lived in towns, settlements, and cities, but I spend most of my time on the road. My guide will primarily focus on backwattered trails, frontier outposts, and the wilderness. In your isolation, anything you read, heard, or imagine is worth 3/5 of a fuck all in the real world, which is precisely why this guide is so useful. It'll provide you with the knowledge you need in order to survive in this harsh new reality. However, not all knowledge can come from a book, which is why you'll need to keep your ear to the ground. Read things, talk to people, make choices, and most importantly, trust your gut. That's enough preamble, let's get started. First of all, what the hell is a bomb dodger? Well, it's the name of the locals give you if they find out you were tucked away safe and sound while they dealt with the shit and misery outside. It alludes to the fact that neither you or your ancestors had to suffer for survival. So, then, what happened? When a bomb dodger first stumbles out of their hovel into the light, the first question they'll generally ask is, what on earth happened all those years ago? What went wrong with civilization? Why did generations of my family come and go in isolation? Why is everyone still fighting today? Unfortunately, nobody has the answer. Well, that is no answer anyone can agree on. Between newspaper articles, recordings, and written accounts, we have a pretty good idea of what caused the unending war, but there has never been a consensus between anyone calling the shots. Regardless, here's what I've managed to piece together over the years. In the Soviet Union, just over 100 years ago, 1968 to be exact, the largest nuclear power station triggered a meltdown. In the chaos, the Soviet Union, let's just call them Russians, was quick to blame foreign nations, crying about sabotage. Pretty soon, more and more power stations began to crumble and implode as thousands died in the resulting chaos. In just a few weeks, most of the place became uninhabitable. Radiation and other poisons soaked the land. It eventually reached borders thousands of kilometers away. Most thought it was the electrical systems the Russians had created that led to their downfall. Cheap materials, improper training, and disregard for human life, they said. The Russians disagreed. A large chunk of people retreated into the wilderness. Others fled to nearby countries as far as France and East China. Soon enough, the inability to deal with such a large-scale evacuation led to fighting breaking out all over the damn place. What happens in the weeks that followed is largely unknown. There are whispers that nuclear weapons had been used in a grand scale for the first time in history, but there's never been any official word. The fighting got worse and everything escalated. The only relatively safe places left were faraway island nations. Sometime in January of 1968, the Chinese and Russians reached an unknown agreement. Their boats departed from the south of China. The Russian boats, packed to the rafters with men, women, and munitions, headed to the north of Australia, the Chinese to the south. At the time, air travel was severely restricted and security along Australia's coastlines was largely non-existent. On the 15th of February 1968, the Russians put their plan into action. Nobody in Australia knew what was about to befall them, and all communication had been cut with the outside world. The Russians wanted some of the largest uncontaminated landmass to themselves. Numerous air bases were attacked and large planes had been stolen. The planes had been loaded with Russian-made nuclear bombs. The plans was to drop them on the most major cities with as little structural damage as possible. They just wanted to, kill a few 100,000 people to let everyone know who was now in charge. The bombs exploded and the result was an all-out world war, the unending war. Every bomb dodger that had a shelter scurried away as everyone else was left to fight. Some of these refugees were deep in mountains, others were directly underground, and some were even hidden under the sea. There was also an old legend about a certain group of people who had a shelter on the moon, but it was all bullshit. I haven't even read it, but look at this guy. Soon enough, Europe, North and South America, Africa, Asia, and the Middle East all shared similar problems. Amidst the war, the radiation poisoning, and severe lack of resources, they had nowhere left to turn. Some other major nations managed to make it over the pond in those first couple of weeks. A few planes packed full of their best and brightest arrived early on, but it was mostly boats hitting our shores. With every major city in ruin, they all staked a claim and resumed pissing each other off with threats and violence. Meanwhile, around the same time in the far south, the Chinese had successfully occupied the island of Tasmania. Except that's all they ever did. They were never heard from again, not on that day or any day since. Rumor has it that they accidentally managed to kill themselves with some sort of weapon that they were able to bring with them. 2 weeks after the occupation, a strange blue mist started creeping over the strait. Locals of the mainland jokingly referred to it as the Chinese sea breeze. Unfortunately for those people, and anyone who gave it a sniff, they all wound up dead or horribly disfigured, as did anything else that breathed in or swam through it. It even started to eat into trees and buildings. Soon enough, that shit spread through most of Victoria, and that's when our real troubles began. Native wildlife started ingesting infected food and water. They were riddled with disfigurements and deformities, as was any offspring. Some animals got bigger, others smaller. Some were altogether resistant, particularly birds, but it's rare. It spawned all kinds of shit. The one thing all these animals now had in common was their extreme aggression. As time went on, they only got bigger and meaner as they multiplied all over the place. The mist turned out to be a gas that they ended up calling CN-189. Don't ask me what that means. I have no fucking clue. Nobody has been able to get near the island where it originated. You can't go by water or air as there's a constant fog that eventually eats through everything. The Russians wanted to drop a bomb at it at one point. Thank fuck they reconsidered. It might have done more harm than good. This is the last photo taken near Tassie. Notice the strange colors, fog surrounding the island. A couple of years later, some imbecile in Nimbin was able to recreate and mix the gas with recreational drugs. It is what now is referred to as Nimbin gas. Highly addictive, the dumb fucks get high off of it to the point that their skin turns blue. The deformities are pretty gross, but nowhere near as bad as if you get a hit of the real stuff. Eventually their brains rot away and they become mindless and violent. The next high is all they give a shit about from that point. It also has beneficial properties in the manufacturing industry, I've been led to believe, but it's highly controlled. From the day the mist had been let loose, the country was fucked. It would have been far easier to get back to the way things were if just a few bombs had dropped. Coastlines are about the only safe places left these days, and the funny thing is, without the Russians, we'd all be buggered if we were left to fight these things on our own. How's that? You feel informed yet? Well, we're just getting started. Oh my god. If you aren't keen on settling down in an outpost for the rest of your years, a life adventure might be for you. There are hundreds of settlements scattered throughout SRNSW with lots to see and do. And you can, if you can snag a travel pass, legally or otherwise, then you'll be free to tour as you see fit. One hint, though, don't try to obtain a forgery if you're younger than 25. It's a little hard to convince the authorities that you served your 10 years of mandatory service if your balls still haven't dropped. Some travel consideration you'll need to make include paying attention to what the weather's doing. Wars, hazardous gases, and pollutants have screwed with the climate to some degree. Checking if it's legal to carry firearms to and from your destination. Finding the safest route. Sometimes roads and trails aren't the best idea. Making sure your papers are with you at all times. There are checkpoints everywhere. Understand where borders start and finish and what laws are in each state. If you're approaching a settlement and you're unsure of the rules, keep your hands visible and let the authorities know you're just a visitor. Burka. Directly on the border, it sits a small trading outpost called Burka. Nobody knows what the name means. Apparently the founder named it but forgot to explain the significance to anyone who can remember. Both the RAEF and AFS have a safe zone between the border, and Burka is right in the middle of it. Military personnel may travel in and around in limited numbers, but may not leave the area to enter an adjoining state, not without permission anyway. Travel by air is forbidden, which makes this outpost pretty important to anyone thinking of heading north by car or foot. The outpost has a petrol station, a robotic repair shop, also able to fix vehicles, a place to stop for food, as well as overnight lodgings. It's recommended to carry a heavy-duty firearm in this isolated region, as attacks by bandits and critters are common. The front lines, also known as the waste or the wastelands, the front lines are considered to be any area an armed force operates against. The fence that divides the fighting front land, inland Australia, and the coastal regions. In 2055, I left the town of Lindenfield to head south on my travels. Foolishly, I left my travel pass behind. I arrived at a small checkpoint at around lunchtime and was asked to produce my papers. Of course I couldn't, and after 20 minutes of trying to explain my mistake, I was hauled off to the local lockup. At that point, it didn't really matter that I actually had papers, because forgetting them was a crime alone. The next day, I was informed that I'd be sent to serve as the People's Militia until my paperwork could be verified elsewhere. I arrived in the late afternoon the next day. I had a single-shot bolt-action rifle that I didn't know how to use, and I was put into a trench with maybe a dozen other guys who clearly didn't want to be there. We were surrounded by bushland. I wasn't able to get any sleep that night, not because I wasn't tired. Given the chance, I would have fallen asleep standing up. It was the screams that kept me awake. Remember asking people where they were coming from and why. Nobody would answer. The next day I got my answer. All of a sudden a horn blew, and followed by maybe 40 seconds of continuous machine gun and rifle fire. I was shitting myself. Across the trenches, 20 or so meters from where we slept the previous night, mutilated bodies of what used to be men and monsters littered the earth. Absolutely fucking riddled with bullets. Bits of hair, skin, and shit all over the damn place. Apparently the best way to coax these fiends out of their hiding places is to use people. They use deserters mostly. They tie them to a board or a post to ensure they make enough noise to lure out whatever's nearby. They inflict pain on those poor bastards. Sometimes they break a limb or stick a knife in somewhere. That's usually enough. One fella told me about a deserter wouldn't make noise no matter what they did, 2 broken arms, and he still wouldn't let out a cry. Unfortunately for him, there's some hard bastards out there. The Russians would take turns throwing boiling water over his body every hour or so until he died. I always wondered why they didn't just play a recording or something. Brutal stuff. Once the critters come running, everyone in the trenches lets loose with whatever they got. They say it's the easiest way to keep the numbers down. In summer, things are worse, though. The critters' numbers swell, and often what is considered the front line is pushed back anywhere between 1 to 1,000 meters. They have a method to deal with larger critters as well, monstrosities, that is. The bad news is that they're not as empty-headed as their smaller counterparts, and each requires a different tactic. Later in the afternoon, I was sent back and told not to fucking forget my papers again. I thought of having it surgically attached to my body after that. Approximately 3 centimeters from the bottom of Satan's arsehole is a town called Mount Druitt. Early on my traveling days, a mate and I had the pleasure of visiting this wonderful place, where there were more smiles than teeth to inhabit them. One afternoon, while minding my own business, we were set upon by 4 youths who demanded our shoes. Shoes? Really? Anyway, we started bolting down the road in an effort to remain fully clothed. Unfortunately, my mate wasn't quite as nimble as I. They scuffed him up pretty good before taking his shoes and just about everything else he had on him. As he tiptoed around the discarded syringes on the way out of town, we vowed to never steer near that place again. Mount Druitt established, don't know. Members, don't know. Current leader, don't know. Purpose, crime? Overseas, nothing to tell us. Apart from Papua New Guinea and New Zealand, there was no contact with the outside world since 1968. There have been hundreds, if not thousands, of attempts to establish communication with every outside nation. None have been successful. When the Intervention Space Program launched in 2059, low-resolution images were sent back to Earth showing that survivors still existed in some parts of the world. There is also evidence of a CN-189 outbreak affecting each area. Over the years, hundreds of vessels and aircraft have attempted to make contact with other nations. None have returned. In 2060, a large Garn sun-powered sailing boat departed from Western Australia, heading to the shores of Singapore. The signal was lost 600 kilometers into its journey as the boat disappeared from satellite view. No communication could be made with the vessel for 30 minutes before it vanished. Later in the same year, a Garn F-88 jet departed from Freeport headed toward the west coast of the United States. Roughly 300 kilometers into the trip, it perished in the South Pacific Ocean. No communication could be made for 2 hours before it disappeared. In 2065, an intervention rocket will be launched to orbit the Earth. At some point in its journey, it will land at a yet-to-be-determined location, with the hope of establishing communication. Established 2030 Pico. Southwest of Shambles is a small outpost called Pico. The outpost was once famous for housing deserters fleeing from the grasp of the RAEF. This includes a small built-up area in the center of what used to be a town and a long train tunnel used for sleeping quarters not too far away. As the Russians were mostly kept busy with other matters, the outpost went unchecked for years. In 2055, that changed drastically. In an effort to stamp out widespread desertion, Pico was one of the main outposts raided by the MSS. It resulted in more than a dozen deaths in the outpost, which was fairly well established by this time, being claimed. It remains a trading outpost as well as a large training ground for militia soldiers. Sapporo? 1968, loads apparently purpose an easier life. Having never visited Sapporo, my first-hand account of the place is lacking, but since it's one of the largest cities in the country, it's easy to write about. Founded in 1968, the same year the unending war began, Sapporo was established in Queensland, slightly above the border. Except back then it wasn't called that. It was called New Sapporo. As most inhabitants, more than 100,000 of them came from Sapporo, Japan. Any mispronunciation's 100% my fault. I own it. The Japanese, with the defense force, were ruthless in claiming this land. The locals were armed with nothing more than hunting rifles. The most military personnel had been sent to what is now the border. Against a surprise attack by the trained military force, they stood no chance. Fearing for their lives, the majority surrendered. The Japanese seized all methods of production and acquired every organization that could help them in their advance. This included the GARN. With little in the way of dangers to worry about, New Sapporo began to thrive. Fighting was primarily concentrated in the south of the country, and Japan's biggest worry, U.S. forces were kept busy in South Australia by the unexpected CN-189 outbreak. As the fighting intensified in the south, the U.S. realized their position was unsustainable and headed northeast. The U.S. had larger, better equipped fighting force, and the Japanese knew they wouldn't be able to withstand an attack. In an effort to preserve their station, the Japanese came to an agreement with the U.S. officials, which stated that they would work together to build a new city as long as the U.S. manned most of its borders. As time passed, the city, consisting largely of Australian citizens, became informally known as Sapporo, being a combination of Sapporo and Seppo due to American involvement. Seppo is a mildly derogatory Australian slang term for an American, shortened from septic tank. Septic tank, rhyming slang for yank. By the year 2000, the city officially adopted its colloquial title and subsequently became known as Sapporo. The Sapporo City Council, SCC, was established the same year. In the years that followed, the Japanese and U.S. had many territorial and political disputes. The U.S., not content with long-standing arrangements, sent a contingent of troops, engineers, and civilians to the northern tip of QLD to establish a new city, Freeport. Tensions never settled, and more U.S. citizens began to make the trek north. Over time, the U.S. began an almost complete withdrawal. By 2022, less than 10,000 of its people remained. In 2023, with most of the U.S. fighting force now in Freeport, Sapporo faced new dangers to the south. Deserters, fugitives, and migrants made use of the lack of security, which resulted in an influx of criminal activity in the poorer areas. To combat these new threats, dozens of checkpoints had automated weapons were placed around the city. Between each checkpoint was a giant concrete barrier. If visitors to approach one of these checkpoints without the correct papers, they'd be shot. It took over 3 years to construct those safeguards as the city's problems worsened. The city is now equipped to deal with any sort of threat, which allowed the city to concentrate on bigger and better things. Already at the forefront of technology, it excelled in developing new technologies. From the floating car to power cells to advanced humanoid AI power androids. Apparently, if you take a car with floating capabilities to Sapporo, it's able to fly a lot higher than the standard most people are used to. In 2050, the city went through another security overhaul, which employed thousands of cameras, androids, and barriers that now surrounds the city. They have no migration policy and will turn away all refugees if it's extremely difficult to gain access to the place for any reason. In 2059, in conjunction with Korea and the Indian scientists to the west, Sapporo launched its first space program named Intervention. That's just about all I've been able to find out about the place. There are rumors that people tend to go missing in some parts of the city, but I couldn't get anything else on that. Right, we got Shambletown. Blah, blah, blah. Shambletown, or Shambles, is located from the coastline. Built in 1981. It remains one of the oldest settlements in the nation. It was originally designed as a fortified stronghold with thick sandstone walls, able to withstand attacks from any sort of critter or monstrosity at the time. Its walls have never been penetrated. In 2001, as the front line shifted further inland, there was less of a need for a manned stronghold in the countryside. There was still an odd critter running around every now and then, but nothing a few guards couldn't handle. I'm gonna skip ahead. Blah, blah, blah. Buildings were made out of any old shit people could find. Tin sheets, tree branches, logs, and even vehicle parts. Looked like a trash heap, but resources were scarce. In 2015, the town officials decided to make the town more visually appealing by creating minimum standards for architecture and clothing. Right, I'm just gonna add 2 types of guards. Patrol guards. I am exhausted of reading. There's so much to read. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I'm not going to read you guys because, this is like so much. Right. Not every creature in Australia should be considered deadly, but unfortunately most of them are. We've got the bin chicken, bites. Bites are small cockroach-like creatures. Ew. Brabby, really. Are essentially overgrown wombats. Schnida? 5 stars to your financial status. Spidey, anteater, prickly bastard. What has hundreds of spines, large cards, and likes to steal shiny shit? It's a cunning creature, small enough to remain out of sight, quick enough to nab your valuables, even adept at burying themselves in the scrub to stay hidden. Emu. Oh my gosh, look at that koala. Terrifying. Were cute and cuddly. Once upon a time, they would live in gum trees and only eat leaves. They still live in trees, but are far less fussy about the type. The koala will mind its business for the most part, unless hungry or provoked. The method the koala will use to trap its prey is to jump from its tree, latching onto the head of the victim, blinding it before it begins tearing things apart with its razor-sharp claws. Jeez. A giant cockroach? It's like human size. Magpies. Nimbin. Some Russian word I can't pronounce. With its dead gaze, rotting teeth, and blue petrid skin, the Nimbin remains one of the most reviled creatures in Australia. Nunim? Elusive creatures, so elusive that most doubt their existence altogether. A bullshit demon? Total and utter bullshit. Religious fanatics swear by its existence, but it's just a ploy to get people to join their unhinged religion. I write about it, but hey, it'd be all bullshit. Plague mutants. The platypus. Oh my gosh, it's super dangerous. Male platypus are equipped with venomous spurs large enough to be fatal to humans. Males are recognizably larger than females. Effective strategy? Run. Yaramahaha? Yaramahaha. Oh, it's a bloodsucker. Okay. There's bikes, there's floaters, trains, planes, helicopters, and airships, mines and traps, chemicals and gas, critters and monstrosities, lock picking. Oh, we already figured that out. Tracking, color sequence. Right. Plastered drunk. Protection law and order. Prawn, a $5 note, colored like a prawn. Service action. What? Tactical weapons and techniques. Yeah, nah. Alright, well, most of this episode was me reading that, and I didn't even read it all. Head out for the day.
You want to head out?
Ready when you are.
So, you're a bomb dodger, are you? Well, you got a lot to learn. Let's start with this.
Where are the wheels?
What a beauty.
You might want to put that seatbelt on. So, what is it you want to do with yourself now that you're free?
I don't know, really. Honestly, I spend most of my time worrying about what'll be waiting for me out here.
No goals or ambitions?
It'd be nice to just settle somewhere, you know? Somewhere with a lot of noise and a lot of people. How about you fellas? What are you doing with yourselves?
Your little book there. Turn to the chapter on cities. See that one?
Sepora?
Where people are free to do what they want, when they want, and without these Russian bastards breathing down our necks. But it's a long way away. Hard to reach, and they won't just let anyone inside. Hopefully that'll all change after today.
What do you mean?
Prove that you're one of us, and I'll tell you. Here we are. See that house just past that windmill over there? I want you to take this. Go down there, go into the basement, and bring back a small red safe. Shouldn't be too heavy. Just give us a yell when you're finished, and I'll help you bring it back.
Okay, and who's inside?
A few shit kickers. Nobody you need to worry about. Do what you like with them.
Right, and how do you know there's a safe in the basement, or that this is the right place, or
Because we beat it out of one of the drop kicks that used to live there. Now get going. It'll be dark soon.
He snuck up as quietly as he could.
Use the cricket bat? Sounds like a better idea. Well.
fucking ask? I don't fucking know. He probably took off to the slapper's tent again. You know what he's like.
These fellas sounded like some well-mannered individuals.
Hey, no. Wait. What do you need? I bet I can help.
A home-cooked meal. Must have tasted incredible after eating that canned shit day after day.
The box you're looking for, it's through there, down the stairs.
Yeah? And how do I get inside?
Press the button behind you.
What button?
Thought you fucking had me, didn't you? You're not so smart now.
Give him some room. He's today's entertainment. I reckon I know why you're here. And I'll tell you what, if you win at my little game, I'll let you see what's inside before I feed you to the pigs.
Get out of the fucking way!
What are you doing, you mad bastard?
You alright down there?
2 seconds. I'll be right up.
Once we get back to the others, we'll crack it open and see if everything's there.
What is that?
What's what? Shit. It's part of a patrol. If it sees or catches up with us, we're done. Well, it's your day, big fella. What do you want to do?
Shoot it down with the impounds. I don't know what that is, but let's try it.
I swiped this from your shack before we left. If it works, we should be able to shoot it out of the sky.
Good idea. But don't shoot unless it actually sees us. I'll head straight for the bush.
Мишка 152, контакт на 275, 4 километра, скорость неизвестна. Объект использует технологию
Contact appears to be a vehicle
парения.
utilizing hover technology.
Вас понял, атакую цель.
Don't you bloody fire! What are you waiting for? Shoot the fucking thing!
Haha, bullseye.
Well, the engine's shot. Literally. We're gonna have to walk it. Let's get off the road and find a place to sleep.
On that very same night, not too far away, some hounds were put on the scent.
How long ago was it taken?
Roughly 24 hours ago.
The evidence is probably contaminated by now. Excuse me for asking, sir, but why are we here? Attacks and theft are common in these parts. Before I even examine the evidence, I can tell at least one person is injured, and the locals are more than capable—
Enough. We don't have time for questions. Why we are here is not a concern for either of us. You are to examine the area and establish a trail for us to follow. This task has been given the highest priority. I await your report.
Yes, sir. It is too far closer to investigate. Perfect. It matches the blood sample I was given from the train. It appears they headed off in the direction of the blood trail. But for how long? Dried blood. WAZ 469. Off-road military utility vehicle. Ugh. 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 I need to try again. It is open. It is the door used by rear passengers. There does not seem to be any evidence here. My duty is to investigate the area, not this man. Somebody was injured here. This rock stopped the vehicle in its tracks. Why didn't the driver avoid it? Perhaps it was at night without the use of headlights. It makes sense for someone trying to avoid capture. The vehicle must have crashed at some stage, but not here. There are no fragments of an impact nearby. There is nothing to report. There is little value in this now. Bullet holes. More blood. It's from another person. There were 2 people in this vehicle. I believe I have all I need to make a report. I have concluded my investigation.
What is your report?
The blood inside of the vehicle is a match for the sample found on the train. Additionally, another sample was found on the passenger seat, indicating there was more than one person inside. The sample has finished processing. It is a match for a deserter. A female, aged 33, an engineer.
Never mind that. What else?
Nothing else worth mentioning.
Then it is safe to assume that the firearm resting on the rear seat wasn't worth investigating?
Firearm? No, sir. I mean, yes, sir. I will go back and...
We've wasted enough time. The blood is a match. Perhaps you can do a better job of following the trail than you did here.
He's changed since we last saw him. He's got a beard now.
Yeah? How does it look?
Almost as ridiculous as yours.
Well, you know what you have to do.
Is it raining where you are?
It's snowing, actually.
Of course it is.
Do you want me to play the song before you go?
Don't you bloody dare.
What are you waiting for?
There's a tin can walking up and down the street.
This one's above board. Shouldn't be a problem. Any more excuses?
Oh. It's a bollard. This is making me hungry.
Read at least 20 different pieces of reading material you've been unlocked.
These stores are everywhere. Class 4. Scribbled nonsense.
One-stop murder shop.
Apparently, this is private property. Crypto junk. Pies. Some...
Hmm? Wait a minute. Don't I know you? Yes, I do know you.
Now that I think about it, that didn't happen. Let me go over it again.
Don't run near her.
He might spot me if I act suspiciously.
Supposed to do, guys.
It's the menu. It's the menu. Apparently, it's an air conditioner. Wish I had the money for one of those. It prevents cars from mounting the footpath. A cardboard box. Artin? Don't know what that means.
You hear what happened in the pits last night?
It seems they are not even trying to hide it anymore.
Yeah. Makes you wonder who'll be next.
I would not worry if I were you.
That's definitely him. Alan Hughes.
The following presentation is a paid advertisement.
When I started at the Critter Research Network over 25 years ago, resources were spread thin. We didn't have as many specimens to work with as we do today, which made life harder on everyone. Fewer test subjects to study meant less medicine to heal the sick, less antidotes for the infected, and there was no clear way of dealing with the many critters that now roam the lands. Like this little guy. The good news is that things have changed dramatically over the years. Thanks to tireless work from freelancers and volunteers, we're now able to dedicate more time and resources to research. Not only to help eradicate these critters from our backyards, but to harness their strengths, making life easier for all of us. However, we cannot continue to do this without your support. Until December, the CRN is offering double the commission for all wanted specimens. For those that are able to deliver specimens alive and unharmed, this commission will be tripled. Remember, we are all responsible for ending the threat. Your help will make all the difference. We thank you for your continued support.
I'll stick to humans. Oi, Rust Bucket.
Hello, miss. How can I be of service?
Just scan this.
Mr. Hughes, first name Allen, wanted for treason, SCC, permit number 5-773, approved for eradication by licensed agent. Whereabouts unknown, associates unknown, hair color black.
Yeah. Don't need his life story. I'm licensed. And that's the fella right over there. You fancy eradicating him for me?
Negative. Without presenting a serious danger, I am not permitted to use deadly force. However, I am permitted to detain wanted persons. Shall I detain Hughes, first name Allen?
Forget it. Just stay out of my way. The tin can's got my papers. No need to worry about it anymore. Alan Hughes. Backstabbing asshole. Best to keep moving forward. It's to pay for parking. That's random.
This didn't tells of the time I almost died on Pico Road. I was hit by a coked up to the eyeballs truck driver who, after pulling over to exchange vehicles or vessels, I'm not sure, or details maybe, told me his bumper bar cost him $10,000. Big whoop, you almost killed me and my ex-girlfriend. What's her name? And I were rattled, but we were alive, and been a lot worse for sure. Well, thanks for reading the story of my dent. Keep smiling. Life's good.
That's my target. Better not get too close for too long.
I'm just confused what you want from me.
Water's flowing into it. Enhanced security?
No matter who you are or where you...
idea. I wonder if I can hack that tin can and get it to take out Alan for me.
Our impartial Jordans are here to serve you. Blah, blah, blah.
Anything interesting happening?
Negative. Please do not linger, miss.
This control panel. It must lower these 3 bollards. If I only had the code, I could lower them and run over this prick. Time to ask around. Another night, another riot.
Morning Herald, you look hungry. 63 people arrested, 5 dead and ongoing civil arrest. A crowd of more than 1,500 protesters gathered to mark a 4th night of violence.
Don't have time to play with those. I've got to stop reading these things.
The unrest started early last week after the sudden disappearance of dozens of U.S. residents and what some are calling unlawful abductions. How long are we going to pretend that we don't know what's happening? Said Thomas Williams, a protest organizer. The mistreatment will go on no longer. We have stood idly by as our liberties have been eroded away with each day and we fall deeper into poverty and despair. No more. Mr. Williams urged every resident of the pits and greater Sapporo to commit to violence until authorities recognize their right to exist.
Alrighty, I'll only get one shot at this. Got it.
Override code 509. Mr. Hughes, first name Allen. For the crime of treason, you have been sentenced to death.
Sentenced to
Deadly
what?
Force authorized.
Wait, you can't.
Hughes, first name Allen, deceased. Have a nice day.
You still there? Hello? Oh, piece of junk.
The cop's robot was hacked and used to take care of business.
Come on, my legs are killing me.
You lost the bet. Keep walking.
Can you get off and walk at least?
Oi, Ned. What are we waiting for?
It's a day's walk back to the shack, and the roads aren't very safe. If we can make it to the town up the road, we can probably get some horses. Maybe some supplies too. But before that, we need to make sure we look the part.
Is that someone coming now?
Looks like it. I'll get the big bastard, you get the other one.
I'm keeping a lookout up here. These roads are dangerous, you know.
Internalizer?
We're about 3 k's away. I'm not pulling your fat ass anymore. Get off.
Good morning. How's it going, mate? About time we got reacquainted. What seems to be giving you grief today? Well, it's these 2 guys down there. We really need the clothes they're wearing, but I doubt they'll just give them to us if we ask nicely. Bah, an easy one. Look, the trick to getting people to do what you want isn't how you ask, it's not to ask at all. I reckon you should just drop down there, right in his fucking head, give his neck a good little snap and, really get in there and twist it. Yes, of course. You can solve all of life's problems by snapping things. I offer an alternative. How would you like it if I simply put those 2 to sleep with a lovely song? It will be quick, clean, and you don't have to harm a single... Sleep? I'll put him to fucking sleep, alright? You can do that? Aren't you just a figment of my imagination? Can a figment of your imagination do this? Huh. Ah, fuck. Righto then. How about you do one each? Better than nothing, I suppose. In any case, you won't regret letting me help. Hey mate, how about using this? It's a wonderful little ditty I wrote that'll put anyone to sleep. Why, thank you. See, you can be nice. Oh, this is gonna be sweet. Oh, dear! Oh, fuck me. Look at his fucking head. Oh, how's it going there, big guy? Enjoying nap time? See you next time, buddy. Oh, that son of a biscuit! Please, accept my apology. He is beyond rude.
A little bit loose, but it'll do.
Stinks a bit. Before we go, and I know this will probably be a stupid question, somehow, but what's with the wagon, the clothes, and the swords?
Look, I know you're pretty new to all of this, but it's questions like that that could get us killed. If you don't understand something, just try to go with it. Any questions about things that are obvious to everyone else is a good way to get noticed, and you don't want that. The most important thing to remember is that this is how most people live now. They don't know any different. Those guys back at the house, they're an exception. Sorta like us, but in a legal way. They obviously have an arrangement with the RAEF.
Right, well, I think I'll let you do all the talking when we get to... Where are we going?
It's a town called Shambles. I've only been there once. It's just to cross the bridge and up the hill. It's actually not a bad place. We'll say we're merchants to get in.
Gentlemen, welcome to Shambletown.
Hi.
Yeah, nah, just kidding. This is Shambles. Unfortunately for you, though, we aren't letting any more merchants inside. We're full to the brim. Been turning away for weeks now. I assume you are merchants, aren't you?
We're...
Exterminators.
What's that?
Exterminators. You know, like pest control. Rodents, bugs, feral wildlife.
Yeah.
Exterminators, you say? Well, do I have some good news for you? You see, last month, on this very bridge, a koala started climbing the walls to harass visitors on their way to town. Since then, 2 townsmen have gone missing, as well as a guard, and I can't get anyone to go down there and get rid of that little bastard. You help me with this, and I'll let you inside. What do you reckon?
A koala? Yeah, I think we can handle it.
Confidence. I like it. I've been told to give this to anyone who decides to help. And as you're an exterminator, I doubt I need to tell you how it works. Off you go then, and bring me its head.
What were you thinking?
It didn't sound like your plan was going to get us inside. And it's just a koala. How hard can it be?
It's not just
Does
a koala.
Does he actually think a koala killed 3 people?
I'm starting to think we have different definitions of the word koala.
What do you reckon the shit in the bag is?
You're asking me? You're the exterminator, remember?
Maybe I should throw it at the koala?
Mate, I've got no bloody idea.
Maybe I need to eat it.
Is that it? On the branch over there?
Looks like a koala to me. Look how little he is. He's tiny.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll go wait at the gate. Good luck with Tiny.
Teeth. I'd throw the bag at it.
Hey there. I'm not gonna harm you. It's all right.
That was easy. Good thing I read that book, huh?
You need to open the lens cap.
Sorry. This has to be it.
Are you sure?
I am almost positive.
We will see, Private. Since you were unable to follow instructions earlier, we are going to handle this my way.
Выдвигаемся, огонь по готовности.
Alexander, get in the wall. You?
I can fight.
Just do it.
Отлично.
Get down!
It's clear. We can move in.
Go on then. Put a bullet in me and be done with it.
We are looking for a man. Somebody new to the area. We believe he is injured and we know he came this way. Where is this man now?
Oh, need a man, do you, love?
I guess we'll use words.
Ah, you are a funny one. Tell me, funny man. Have you heard of the maggot militia?
Can't say I have. Do they tie people up and ask stupid fucking questions all day?
The maggot militia. This is the name they give themselves. Can you think of why they might choose this name?
Oh, why don't you tell me?
Those who desert the colony. This includes bushrangers. Not conscripted into any service. They are put into the maggot militia. Unarmed, they are forced beyond the borders of our state where unimaginable horrors await them. If they live for more than a few days, they are considered very fortunate. Most are not very fortunate. Most are disfigured corpses, rotting in the hot sun before the week is through. Our soldiers use their maggot-filled bodies to lure out all manner of creatures. These creatures, they...
Yeah, alright. But I don't know who this guy is or where he is now. He should have returned with a ranger yesterday. They were headed out to a place near Shambles. That's all I know. Now, either let me go or put a bullet in me. I'm not gonna be a corpse in your fucking militia.
Thank you.
We have a location, Private. There's no time to waste.
Oh God.
It is time I explain the purpose of our mission. Move out.
You know, that whole exterminator thing worked pretty well back there, which gives me an idea. First, we'll need a couple of things. You'll need to find yourself a horse and some travel papers. I'll do the same. Consider this your final test.
Okay, horse and papers. So, where do I...
That's for you to figure out. Let's meet back here in a few hours. And don't forget what I told you on the bridge.
Alright, I think I'll leave you guys here at this point. Thanks for keeping me company, and I'll be back soon with another episode.